Welcome to the Mindful Nomad podcast. I'm your host, Miguel Gutierrez. This podcast is an exploration into the world of creatives, community leaders, and entrepreneurs, taking a deep dive into their lives, focusing strongly on lifestyle, spirituality, mental health, and education. So grab a seat, relax, and join me for this exciting journey through conversations with other mindful nomads. This was previously recorded for the podcast Travel Cuts and Consciousness, but I've decided to keep it on a playlist as it still aligns well with the Mindful Nomads podcast. Enjoy. Okay, I think we're ready. So I would like to welcome you all to a brand new episode of Travel Cuts and Consciousness. Our guest today is a former guest and probably like the actual last episode that I uploaded, which was months ago, and it was months late as well. But today we're very, very honoured to have his brother, the other co-founder, RUGER, in the room, Mr. Reece Beak.
Hello.
Also known as the Mozam.
Or the legend.
The boy that lived.
The midget. Or if he was from France, the mijet.
What can I say about Reece? He's a CrossFit and vegan barber, not hipster whatsoever. Loves life, super outgoing, loves people, really just out there, just crazy.
I don't like to rant on my Instagram or anything like that.
Loves a rant, got a beard, got 2 dogs that no one else has got. He just loves it, doesn't he? He's Mexican. He's Juan in his own.
Yeah, he does have 2 Italian greyhounds.
Yeah.
Again, not hipster at all.
No, not one bit. And they've both got bandanas.
No, I'm just tight. They don't need feeding much.
That's true. Apart from doesn't the other one of them break his legs all the time?
Oh, don't even get me started, please.
So, yeah. Reece, I mean, first of all, talking about you two, you're so different. You're so different. We obviously spoke to you before, Alan. Alan's out there on social media. People kind of get an idea about what Alan is about. Do you think that kind of works and balances out the partnership between you two with having a business?
Bit of both, I'd say. Yeah, it definitely does. But at the same time, I think it annoys the life out of him that I don't say anything.
No, it is what it is. I'm one for complete individuality. And Reece said something the other day that he'd upset someone online for a change. And someone had said something about his Instagram. Now, everyone's Instagram is just an extension of their personality, not in a detrimental way, but it's an extension of their ego. And I don't mean that in a detrimental sense. It's somebody expressing their individuality through their Instagram page. Now, if Reece has an opinion, which he has lots of, and he is strongly opinionated, and if he wants to express something on his Instagram, that's what it's there for. It's his platform with his name on it. He can do it. I am a lot more unbiased and keep very, very neutral because of business and family and all the reasons that are personal to me and how I feel. When Reece mentioned it the other day that he'd upset someone, I got angry at the thought that someone would be upset over someone else's opinion. I don't think that's right. So everyone's entitled to their own opinion and he can say whatever he wants and do on it. It's his platform. It's his Instagram. He can say what he wants.
It's close to the bone. I just delete it when I'm not drunk.
Yeah, exactly. He has a little couple of glasses of jam shed and that's it. He's all over it.
What was the actual post?
Oh, it's probably about animal cruelty or something, or I don't know, probably about
coronavirus.
Or politics.
Yeah.
Things that you just don't talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know me. A bit crazy like that.
Don't talk, what they say in the shop, don't talk about sex, don't talk about politics. And all we do is talk about sexy politics.
And football.
Well, that's what people say, don't talk about in the barbershop, but that's all we talk about in the barbershop.
Well, there's nothing else to talk about. Nobody's going away. Nobody's doing nice things. I mean, everyone's sat inside getting fat. What else can we talk about?
That,
yeah,
that's what we talked about.
Yeah, of course.
I think if there is a rule of how to behave or what to do, if somebody says you should not talk about this in the barbershop, then fuck me, we're going to talk about it. We've never conformed. We will never conform.
It's exactly like when people say, don't look, I'm naked. You obviously look first.
Standard, do not press that red button. Oh my God, I'm pressing that button. We have always been like that as children. Just whatever we're told not to do, we will do it out of the curiosity of actually doing it.
Yeah. We're just silly, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
So basically the difference between me and you is at the top and bottom, you're grown up and I'm not.
I'm mature and grown up when I need to be. I think having children is the thing that like gives you that violent shove into maturity. But on the other end of the scale, the other end of the spectrum, I can be an absolute child.
Oh yeah, that's where we get it from.
No.
Yeah,
The life and soul, aren't you?
the arsehole.
So, I mean, I'll ask the question again. No, but do you think that's what kind of keeps a nice balance within the business?
1,000,000%. Yeah,
Definitely.
We do bounce off each other. Like when you come into the shop, it is like tit for tat. Don't we? We go back and forth all day.
Imagine if you had two of me, we'd be really rich and really successful, extremely rich and successful. But if you had two of the exact same personality in one business, it doesn't work as well. No. We have conflicting personalities. We are extremely alike in some way.
Oh, like we're the same. Like when we go abroad and things like that, we could just be on our own the whole time. Like we're like kids.
Totally, yeah.
We're like best mates.
Anyone would say we shared the same womb.
Exactly.
Womb.
Yeah, we are. Obviously, we get on like a house on fire. We have another brother as well, like an even older brother. Alan's about 40 and Wes is about 50. But no, we all get along really well. But we obviously clash like any family do.
Did you say? I remember one of you saying that your brother was thinking about retraining.
Yeah.
And getting into the
our oldest brother.
Yeah, he thinks stuff like that when he's taking crack. But yeah, it was an idea, and it was one of them. It was the same idea that I would say about 95% of the people who say they want to get into barbering. He had the exact same notion. I'm going to get into barbering because it looks quite easy. And I think
probably because it looks fun as well.
It looks fun. It looks great. I think I'm going to have a go at that. And until they do the first lesson, they go, fuck that.
He doesn't live, obviously he lives in Australia, so he probably gets jealous that we see each other all the time. Like we're like that. We're a bit like, he doesn't like us. He does like that we're together.
Yeah, I think
he definitely misses out. So he'd love to do it, to get involved.
It's out of love. The jealousy of the fact that we get to spend so much time together is because he loves us so much.
Yeah.
And he wants to be a part
He's
of
got
that.
a really good job. That's the worst part about it. He's got really good. We might get him involved one day.
Yeah, we are 100% getting him involved somehow. In the next few weeks, actually. Because we're obviously
Are you bringing out that video that you were going to do?
Yeah, it's like the Paris Hilton one, but it's one night in Oldham.
Oh, God.
So he lives in, did you say he lived in?
Australia. He lives on the Gold Coast in Australia.
On the Gold Coast, yeah. So did you see him when you were over there, Reece?
Yeah, of course. Saw him a few times, yeah. We actually went to his wedding about 3-4 months before I actually went travelling over there. So I saw him twice in that year. But no, he's cool, Wes. He lives on the Gold Coast, Paradise. He lives in like a proper British lifestyle, steak on the barbie, and then sits inside all day.
With his Manchester United full kit.
Yeah, watches the TV in the middle of the night.
Pads.
Yeah.
Football game, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Beer in his hand, like
Stellar.
never goes in the sun, hates it.
There's loads of like really, really nice beers and lagers over in Australia. Yet he'll still pay a fortune more so he can sit and drink Stella. Finish a full crate and then batter his missus.
Again.
Yeah.
That's a joke, by the way.
He doesn't drink a full case. He don't drink the full case.
So what was it like? Because like Reece, you went over and was it a year or just under a year?
9 months.
9 months in Australia. How did that play a part on the business?
Yeah, your business partner going for a 9-month holiday. Yeah, it was well hard.
I went for a sabbatical.
No,
to find themselves.
To be fair, it was something that I definitely encouraged, and he was like, I want to do it. I need to find myself, and I said, trust me, I'll save you 9 months. You're a wanker. You don't need to find yourself. I'll tell you exactly what you are. But no, I did encourage it because it's once in a lifetime trip. Something I didn't do.
You was going to do it.
Yeah, but me and my now wife, me and Lindsay, we went over there when Wes first moved over to Brisbane. And we spent 2 weeks there. Best 2 weeks of our lives. It was incredible. And I'd been thinking about it already, but then when we came home, she said, let's just do it. Let's just go for it. I suggested getting a working holiday visa and just doing a year. And she said, no, let's just go. Let's just emigrate, get a full residency visa. So we spent the next year applying, paying. We were on the on-demand list, so everything was plain sailing. All of a sudden, they changed the on-demand list. We had to re-go through the process. That took another year. And then they changed the terms again, which means I had to do a different qualification, which was teaching, which encouraged me then to do the teaching. And I used, obviously, barbering as my subject. Got all the way through it. We're talking like 3, going on to 4 years. Then we waited another year. So 5.5 years later, they finally said, right, you can go. And it was like, obviously, when you sat down in the waiting room in the doctor's, and the doctor comes out and says, right, I'll see you now. And you're like, you can fuck off. I'll come at my own pace, thank you very much.
I'm well now.
I've got a few more posters to read yet. It was like, you can't just tell me, and after 5.5 years of us waiting and spending thousands and thousands of pounds, that now we have to go. So I let him wait a little bit. We conflicted our thoughts then of what we wanted to do. Lindsay had changed her mind. She didn't want to go anymore. Things had changed. Things had progressed within like our careers and stuff like that. Like it got to that point where we actually started making moves. I got inspiration from a few people that were doing bigger things in the industry. I think this is about the time that I started emailing, messaging you. You didn't reply. And I was sat in your podcast room, naked.
Because it's only just replied.
I mean,
I've got socks on, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're wearing a smile. I'm being 100% genuine there as well, because it was someone like you that I saw that were doing something else other than just stood behind a chair constantly. You were stood behind a little Indian's chair, rubbing him up and down. But I saw that and thought, right, I need to do something properly now. I can't just stand behind a chair in a little shop in Oldham forever. Made some connections, started planting seeds everywhere, and these plans had started to come into fruition. So I thought, I can't really go and start again. It's taken years to build this up now, the relationships and everything. And she was right. Lindsay was right. So we just decided to sack it off.
Yeah, you made a good choice. You definitely made a good choice. My situation changed a couple of years ago, so it gave me the chance to go. So I just thought, obviously, go and see my brother. And then I'd never been to Melbourne. We'd been to Australia since we were kids. So I thought, sack it, I'm going. Did it?
It was good, didn't it?
I didn't even last the year, to be fair. I was going to do 2 years. I got Albert over there, my Italian greyhound, and thought, well, I'm staying for a while. And then I messaged you, didn't I? Say, mate, I think I'm coming home.
I miss you.
Well, I had a holiday booked home for my best friend's wedding for 2 weeks, and then literally 3 or 4 weeks before, I was like, actually, I'm not coming back. So then I had to ship everything over, including the dog.
Including the dog?
Sent him in the post.
Mailed him.
Yeah, exactly. In a little poster.
See, I almost went to, like, I did a year in Australia, and I went through the whole process.
Oh, you've done a bit of travelling, have you?
Yeah, I've actually travelled a little bit, actually.
Oh, I got your little Nomad.
It's a good name. Keep that. So I was planning it around the same time you probably were doing it, because I was there when they took hairdressing off the list. The demand list went from like 250 occupations down to like 20,
literally,
which was like electrical engineers, and the butter makers were taken off.
Yeah, it's mental when you read the list now.
Yeah. So then I was like, I'll have to go and retrain as a hairdresser. So I was like, all right. They did like an assessment online. I remember they saying that they were going to watch you do a haircut, and it was like a straight cut, a layered bob, and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, if I can just wing this, then I've possibly got a chance. And by the time it happened, like it was like 2-3 years in the making, probably similar story. It's like I was just like, I've changed. I mean, life's changed now.
Everything's changed.
Of course.
Yeah. So, Reece, how did you actually? Because you went down a different route, Alan, to get into the barbering industry, didn't you?
Yeah. So when I left school, I was 16 when I left school, and I went straight into hairdressing. I wanted to do fashion really, but I couldn't draw. So I thought, well. I had a girlfriend at the time that worked on Saturdays in this shop that a lot of people from around our way looked up to. So I thought, I'll speak to him. He's called Kevin Carey, at a shop called Carey & Carey, and then obviously he took me on as an apprentice as a hairdresser.
Reece went for an interview at like a fashion consultant, and he turned up wearing Crocs, so they told him to do one.
And I can't even take you seriously.
No, did he act?
That's something you'd wear now.
They weren't Crocs, they were flip-flops.
They were half Crocs.
Yeah, half Crocs.
Yeah, so anyway, from there I went to Tony & Guy for a little while, and I just didn't get on with, to be honest, I didn't get on with the wage. I couldn't survive. So I left, worked with my older brother doing lift engineering for a couple of years, and then it came about where Alan basically started working for the guys that we used to get our hair cut off when we were kids. And yeah, they said to me, why don't you come back into it? You know, we'll pay you what you're on now. Just train up really fast. And to be fair, it was the best
rapid.
thing. It was the best thing I did. Because I already understood hair. I'd been doing it 2 years. And then it was just holding a pair of clippers. And now it's the fucking bane of my life.
You know, when they say things like the discussion of whether something is nature or nurture, or whether someone was born to do something. Like, I wasn't born to cut hair. No. 1,000,000%. I'm way too heavy-handed. I'm too cumbersome. I'm too idiotic. I had to train to become semi-decent at what I am doing. Whereas Reece took to it so much easier, whether it's his body composition, whether his hands, his dexterity or anything like that. He's just a lot more attuned to cutting hair than like what I am. So he took to it a lot quicker.
I'm a bit finicky on that. Like, I'm a bit obsessed with things like that. Like, if I want to be good at something, I'll fucking won't sleep until I can do it.
Exactly. Like anything that Reece put his head to, that he was almost kind of like angry with himself to get to a decent level where he was good at it. And then once he was good at it, then it would obviously go on to something else, or he would just stay good at it, and that was it. Same with things like snowboarding.
Parkour, when he did parkour.
Yeah. To be fair, anything we've done, gymnastics, snowboarding,
trampolining.
Yeah, we're just obviously we've got some form of ADHD between us, I think.
We actually got asked to go around with the Moscow circus circuit as 2 gymnastic midgets.
Oh,
I remember you actually going snowboarding and you did like a haircut on it. And
yeah, I did it. Yeah, did.
Interesting.
Started it off at the bottom of the lift, which was really, really funny because there was a load of like French or Swiss or Russian or German people. I don't know, they were foreign, in the same lift. And as soon as I pulled out a pair of clippers, they could just hear the vibrating, and I could see one of them jump round. So obviously started like doing. It's my brother-in-law. Started doing his beard. And got to the top and went to a few different locations. And do you know what? It was really, 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 really fun. It was cold. Still got the video for that as well. It was good.
What did you film with it? Was it a GoPro?
Yeah, just a GoPro, which is so good because it's just this tiny little camera that the quality was actually really, really good as well.
At the time.
At the time. This actually films in 720. You're joking.
I had that. I had like the GoPro 2 when I went on my first trip. And I remember I filmed some stuff for like a vlog or whatever, and I put it onto my computer and put it next to like the 5D Mark II, and I was like, I can't use this.
No,
it's horrific.
It was. I mean, like I remember looking at it on the screen at first and thinking, the wide angle, the fisheye lens, like it does capture everything, but it is terrible.
Yeah, it's good for jumping off stuff and like being a bit silly, but not for serious shit. Good for diving in the sea and things like that. Like, 5D camera underwater.
Well, everyone like started. It was at that era where people were starting to film their haircuts and stuff like that. And I remember I'd always take my stuff everywhere, no matter where we went. There was always an occasion in which you could.
I think I did a stint with the GoPro on my clippers at one point.
Yeah, you did it on your clippers, did it on a hairdryer.
Bit crazy like that.
On your head, and then that was it. It started a craze, didn't it? Everyone started copying. Yeah, standard.
Just kidding.
Good old 2014.
Yeah, it was such a good time when we all used to just go and get shit-faced at events and stuff.
Well, I think it's changed a lot though, because like obviously that is still a thing where people go to these events, but I feel like at these events you wouldn't go and see the same people that were knocking about them years ago. You know what I mean?
No.
It's kind of a lot of people. It's a lot of new barbers who've come into it. Usually go to these events.
Yeah,
and like a lot of the people on stage, I don't know who they are. Not knocking them at all. Like,
no.
Good on them, but I have no idea
who some of them are.
Yeah, I think everyone. It's not like we grew out of it. We just got to know people higher up and higher up and higher up, and I think we just help put together things now rather than like I come and I always just support you. I hate going on stage and things like that. Like I'll literally go and just like do his.
You're a shitbag before we go on stage. You're an arsehole all the way up to it. And then when you get on stage and you do it and you do really, really well, you come off and you're absolutely buzzing. It's just the anticipation of actually getting on stage.
It's like I get the worst anxiety ever. Get up there, come down, go, right, I can go back up now.
Yeah, when are we going back up?
Do you know Mark Bustos was telling me on the podcast that someone gave him a beta blocker before he went on stage because he was super nervous. I think it was behind the chair. And he said he went on stage and he looked down, and as he was about to start talking, he realised his hands were just still. Whereas before they were like shaken to bits, and he was just like, "Oh my god, this just like completely stopped all anxiety."
That's mad.
It would have been a pro Panadol.
Yeah, pro Panadol. I've got some in the house.
I'm on one right now. No, not really, no. But they are great. All right then, Mark Bustos. So we met him outside of Barbercon. We met him outside Barbercon. We're chatting away, and obviously, like, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. The only times I smoke is when I'm on fire, obviously. But I do have this like little pretend cigarette, fake e-cig thing. And it's just like that. It's just a hand-to-mouth thing. I know full well I don't really need to do it. I'm not addicted to nicotine. It's just become such a habit. And obviously, don't do anything. Don't do any drugs. Don't drink anymore. I'm fucking practically a monk. But my little cigarette thing, I like it. And I think it's just the only thing I've got. I'm having something.
It's your little self-soother.
That's exactly what it is. It's like a pacifier, and it's literally. We were in New York, and he had one, and he said, "Do you want to have a try of that?"
Because we were literally about to walk. We were walking down to the Barbercon to do the show.
We were literally walking down to Barbercon to jump on stage.
I know where this is going.
Yeah,
so
of course. Somebody hands you a pen.
He hands me this little pen, and I thought, "Oh, nice one." So. Like mine, it's quite evident that you've actually drawn something in and you actually see the physical vapor come out. So I took like 2 or 3 pulls on this little pen and thought...
I even said like, whoa, it's a Medipen, chill.
And I didn't know what he'd said.
Only because I heard Mark say, just take it easy on that. It must have been really strong or something.
Reece is like ultra protective. Like if you drive, whenever you're driving in the car, like just be careful on him. And is just ultra protective. That's what he's like. So
the man who films all of his drives out of the side mirror.
Yeah.
Officer.
You know why though? That's because he's in control of it and he is a lot more careful. He knows what I'm like. My past experiences when driving, I am a nightmare.
I've never crashed.
He's never crashed, and this is like a whole new podcast just to tell you of all the accidents I've had when driving. So he warns me, says just chill on that for a second. All right, I'm like, what? It's just a little.
He just gets the eyes. I'm like his mum. I'm like his travelling mother.
Let's just say about another 5 or 6 pulls of this little thing to finally see some vapor come out of my mouth, and thought, it's nothing. Carried on walking.
It was at
so
that
we're
point
walking.
He knew he'd fucked up.
It was at that point when my entire world fell out my ass when I realised
it was
that it was a Medipen that was full of marijuana and full of THC. That I got that really, really warm feeling in the back of my throat, all the way up my back.
And obviously he's got little diddy eyes anyway. There was a Starbucks on the corner and we were like, mate, we've just got to go and get coffee.
My eyes reduced to tiny little urine holes in snow. And I just thought, in my head, I just went, oh, fuck. And then I realised what had gone on. And I couldn't even speak. I was like...
I kept looking at him and he looked like out the corner of his eyes and he kept going, don't look at me. Don't look
I was
at
like, me. I was like a 6-month-old baby pointing at a boob wanting milk. I was like, but coffee. I needed something quickly to bring me out of it. So
it was so good.
I had 2 cortados, absolutely smashed them in. Lee Resnick rang me and said, like, what do you want? I'm like, a fucking new head right now, mate. And he's like, no, like seriously, everyone's got something. Like all the stars of the show, they've got something. I'm working it out now. You can have whatever you want. I was like, no, honestly, Lee, I'm from Manchester, UK. Like, I don't need anything, just a green room just to prep. And he was like, listen, bro, I've got like guys here that want bodyguards. I've got like someone who wants their own room that wants it filled with vodka and this, that. And he's like listing all these things. I'm like, mate, I'm from Manny. Just sort me out a couple of lagers. So we get to this room and he's put a fridge in our own little room full of Brooklyn lager.
To be fair, the room was class.
The room was
me, you,
Kev,
class. Mark. There's a couple of us in the room.
Yeah, it was well good.
Yeah.
And Liam...
Twisty Pants.
No, Liam...
Oh, the barber.
Campbell.
Yeah,
Liam Campbell. You were there.
Oh,
you in the room. Yeah, of course you was. You
must have met us just after that. Or was you there when
Did you meet us in the room?
Yeah, I was filming.
Because you were filming going, we are currently giving Kev's, currently backstage.
Kev cut Liam's hair.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So we'd got to that room.
I didn't know you were
absolutely high as a kite.
Yeah, but like I say, he probably just had loads of coffee.
I'd come round, I'd had those 2 coffees, and when I got into that room, I remember opening 4 cans of the lager, and I'd smashed them in, and within 4 minutes, I'd had 4 cans, and all of a sudden, I just started coming round again, and it was in that big building. It was like 4 tiers, and there were people everywhere.
It was a mad setup. It was like an old building, wasn't it?
Really old building. It was like a big auditorium, it was like a theatre. And I remember just before I went on stage thinking,
we were literally backstage, weren't we?
Yeah, we actually was.
We were looking for that room for ages, weren't we?
Yeah, that was it.
But on that walk, the hour from having the Medipen, from the hour of having it kicking in, for me, almost having a psychological breakdown, getting to that room, it was a nightmare. It was dead funny.
And then you had to go on stage.
And then I had to go on stage. But I was on stage with Kev, who is incredible on stage and loves his own voice, so he doesn't stop talking, which is perfect.
Guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. I'm Kevin Lutchman.
I've brought my workout routine. But yeah, that was a great story.
Yeah, that's one of many.
That show was great, but I feel like it was very disorganized, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was just like madness. Just no one knew what was going on.
I was just stood backstage filming them all.
Yeah,
I got so drunk as well. I remember that's why I don't really drink at events now, because I remember just being drunk and just like so many people messaged me saying, "Oh, good to see you last night," and I was like, I've
never done it. I've never bothered.
What? Oh, you know what? It was one of those occasions. Like obviously, like my old drinking habits would be to find someone always at a show, and this was kind of like my mechanism to make sure that I could drink the amount that I wanted to drink, and there was only 1 to 2, 3 people at an event that would want to drink the same as me. And I would always beat them no matter what. I would always continue.
I just go to and from the bar while you were working and stuff.
Exactly, you would always just bring me. But I remember in a case that trip, you were there a little bit later than me and Kev. So me and Kev got there first, and I don't really get hungover because I kind of manage, not hungover, sorry. What's it called when you can't sleep when you go on holiday? Jet lag. I never get jet lag because I can manage my sleep pattern quite well with sleeping tablets and stuff like that.
with drugs.
With drugs. I could always manage it. So if I was going into a new time zone, I would tranquilize myself on the flight so I knew I could wake up a little bit, tranquilize myself the night when it was supposed to be night, and I'd be fine. But that New York trip, I had the worst jet lag ever. And I remember you saying, look, I know the guys at Blind Barber, I'll message Adam and we'll get us in. And do you remember when we turned up and there was that like
what was his name?
The black guy who was incredible on the door. He was like Camp.
His name was like, I don't know. It was very extravagant.
It was a really, really cool name. And he was like Camp, but rock hard at the same time.
He didn't want to know. And then
as soon as you mentioned who you were and Adam's name, and it was like, yo guys, no, not tonight. I'm like, oh, excuse me, mate, but we know Adam. And he's like, okay then, just give me a moment. And he was like so suave and so cool. And I remember by the time that we got inside, Adam went and got us cocktails, brought them all over. They were dead nice, really, really strong. And it was dead surreal because you go through this tiny little barbershop.
I was going to say, isn't it a Prohibition?
Yeah.
So
cocktail
cool.
bar anyway.
Blind Barbers.
I
mean, like we were called Ruger Barber, and that came from Blind Barber.
Yeah, that was the whole.
So to actually go to Blind Barber was like a massive dream come true. To walk to the door, to almost get refused, but then just to be walked through as VIPs into the back where it was absolutely banging. It was amazing.
Yeah,
but then, and you just got there, so you were on one. You wanted to get smashed. You was like getting ready, and I was like,
you hit it. Yeah,
we hit a wall, and we had to. I had to go
home. It was
home.
like 10.
Yeah.
I wasn't there at that time.
No.
That was the first time you went to New York, wasn't it?
It was the second time.
Oh yeah, no, this is the time before.
Yeah, it was the first time.
Was it the first time?
Yeah, I didn't go to that one. I came to the second and third.
That was at a different. That was another venue again.
Yeah,
I think it was even smaller one.
That was the first one in Brooklyn, which was like rough as a bear's behind. It was terrifying. Like we had to get frisked and like body searched on the way in and everything.
You weren't complaining.
I weren't complaining because he was fit. No, but yeah, I remember you always say, like, you were going, come on, just stay out, just have a few more drinks. And it was like, trust me, I've got to go home.
I think I'd only just arrived.
Yeah,
And we like went
you
out.
had.
Yeah. I just wanted to get drunk and then go to sleep.
Yeah, usual.
I just wanted to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I've
After you
been
get
drinking for about 30 hours straight. That's why.
Yeah. It's an amazing bar though. Such good.
Beautiful.
I need to-
Even just the
I've
shop
been to
itself
it.
was incredible.
I've never been inside.
Well, I
Just
always
insane.
mention this, but it was like I remember being on MySpace, and I remember
You're showing your age now, aren't you?
being friends with Frank's Chop Shop and Blind Barber, or just like I can't remember, just looking at the page and being like, oh my god, barbershops like this exist.
Yeah.
Because I was in this like basic barbershop in a fairly rough area, and I was like, what? Like how? How does this happen? How do people have concepts?
Yeah,
and
this is
stuff?
like a real thing.
Yeah.
I think that's where it started, though, wasn't it? When
Yeah.
they started doing
Oh,
like
massively.
obviously the old school American barbershops. They've been going a while anyway, but it became an actual trend, didn't it? And then
Yeah.
people started doing the sort of reclaimed barbershops and
Well, they were
retrofit
early on it
stuff.
because they
They were
like,
they were
Yeah, well, they did-
bang on it.
They
were
did
like,
the first of the retrofit thing. We saw the
Retro,
surgical trays
yeah,
that
the
they used to
surgical
put the clippers
trays
on and things and,
and the
scissors.
tiny little the like little pot towel,
The surgical, it's like like
little towel that they had folded over, and
with
it
a
was
blue
just,
line down the middle, like a
Yeah.
real shaved towel. You know, like where you
Yeah.
obviously separate, so you use one side for one thing and one.
Yeah.
Incredible.
it was like that old school kind of like alchemy, almost surgical kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
feel.
They
where,
actually
you-
had like alchemy cupboards on the walls,
Yeah.
like cabinets, and that had locks on them and
yeah, the
everything.
little steel ones.
Medicine cupboards, like mine at home. Me.
I think it's got they were the kind of like ones that started off their little niche and did that, and it's tough. It's so tough now to find a barbershop that's completely original because there are that many that's been done. Was that your belly that rumbled?
That was not mine.
mine.
Was it yours? Yeah. It's hard to find a barbershop now that's completely original and completely like authentic because
don't-
there's just that much been done.
Well, that's it. I don't think anything can ever be original.
Hmm.
I thought, but the most original things I found, like on my travels and stuff, is like because I don't know if you know, I travel.
Oh yeah, you do
Yeah, you've
traveling,
done a
yeah.
little bit, haven't you?
Like
Yeah.
a nomad would do.
Nomad, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
like,
okay.
Man with no home.
Yeah.
And like places like it's. I know it's been redone now, but there's a shop in Chicago, like Joe's Barber Shop, and it's just got like VHS tapes and the old TV and like ponytails hanging on the wall and like pictures that have been there for like 30 years, and it's like you can't replicate that.
No.
You know, no matter what you try and do. But obviously, barbershops have gone through the motions over the past, like in such a short period of time. We've gone from everyone wanting a copy of Scorum to then everyone wanting a copy of Ruger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all the white, clean, bit shit.
Yeah.
Really bright.
Yeah, really bright. Cause
Since we opened, the IKEA's fucking sales in Hobbit mirrors have just gone skyrocketing. We should have opened the shop, got them mirrors, and then input shares. And
People
invested
come in and go,
IKEA.
yeah, I've got a mirror like that, and I've just like tilted it up against the wall. Like it's not like we didn't see it.
put some plants there.
Yeah. But I mean,
Melbourne's the best for that. The
It's-
retrofit thing, they're incredible. Like, all the barbershops over there are just fucking insane.
I like when people have like attention to detail, but do make it their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's it. Like no one can be original because everything's already been done. Now what we did was we just took different ideas from everyone. It's like cutting hair. Everyone cuts hair like now, and you can see what kind of niche they've gone into or kind of like what direction they've gone into, and you know it's come from somewhere. It's awful to just take somebody's way of cutting hair and completely make it your own and then say it's your own because you've taken it from someone.
people normally make things their own just by being mad talented, don't they? They don't make things their own by making it look like.
It's the same with life. Just be who you are and cut hair however you feel comfortable. It's like I very, very rarely change the way I cut hair and haven't changed the way I cut hair for 10 years. I mean, tiny details like my fade formula's changed, the order in which I do something's changed, but I practically cut hair the exact same way. I haven't changed to conform just because other people are doing it. And I haven't, we did the shop where we just took elements from different barbershops or different buildings. Like we
Yeah.
went on a kind of like a research mission.
You went to London, didn't we? Yeah, and just went
Mooched
around.
around and said, we like that idea. We like that idea. We went to a lighting shop
Went
and
to
we just
fucking furniture shops, just walking around, going, "Oh, look how they've got concrete on the walls. Look how they've got."
we just took inspiration from everything and everywhere and put it all together to become us.
And realised we had about 15 grand when these buildings were about 200 grams worth. So we were like, yeah, we'll try and make it
So
look like that.
we literally just had a tiny little thimble to piss in. We did have a pot, but it was tiny. And then we just made do with what we had and then grew from there.
Yeah.
When I don't know if you probably do remember, like me building the first shop, and Liam came over from Australia and we built it, and we did it at like $5,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
well.
incredible.
I came
Just
to that
threw-
one.
Yeah,
didn't I?
yeah.
It was so good.
We just got whatever we could.
You literally
Yeah.
had like church pews in there and everything, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I
Like
had a
along the
church
back.
pew. That was inspired like by the old
was
shop
so
I used
good,
to
though.
work in, because they always had a church pew in each barber shop, like as a waiting
They
area.
look mint.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
they look cool. You get them for like £100 or whatever.
And they
Yeah,
smell good
people
as
have
well.
like the theatre seats that fold away and stuff like that, but that's really unoriginal.
That came from Blind Barber.
Yeah, it did.
They've got
Yeah,
them,
literally did. That's how we got them.
Yeah.
That's exactly like and the fact that they're hidden away.
It's
Yeah.
space saving.
Yeah.
We only had a very, very small shop to open with, and everything was space saving. So, your waiting chairs, instead of like them being folded out, then we use cinema seats, so then they could fold away. We use stools for waiting areas because instead of going out, we went up.
Yeah, Blind Barber had the wooden ones with like the red old school leather on, just two next to each other. So good.
So nice.
So bloody nice. Aye.
How do you find it that, you talk about shops like Blind Barber and all these inspiring places from years ago, but now people look up to you guys? Do you know what I mean? Obviously, so many reposts, people message you all the time about your brand. How does it feel? Do you feel like you've kind of accomplished what you needed to accomplish, or you feel like you're only halfway there, or?
It's a difficult one.
Honestly,
I think we've made it to a good phase. I think we're in a phase rather than accomplished. We've definitely like
You've been through a few of them in your life.
yeah,
haven't you?
yes, standard.
we
That's how I got a perm now.
in a very, very non-arrogant way, if someone was to say to you, like, do you feel like you are successful? I think we're fucking incredibly
Oh, yeah.
successful because we're content of what we've done and where we are now. That's it. Like, the only way we gauge success is because of how happy we are of where we are. If it was all end now,
Yeah, and you look at the Booksy app and you see that we're fully booked. We pretty much
Exactly.
95% of the year.
I can easily, happily sit down with my kids and say, when I was, how old am I now? 30. When I was this age, a woman never tells you her age. When I was this age, I was very successful. We traveled all over the world. We were in multiple magazines. We did this. We sold our products in, 20 different countries. We had distributors everywhere, and we did this and we did that. That's it. It's like I'm just basically saying that I'm extremely proud of where we are now. Are we done? Fucking nowhere near. I like whatever my ambitions are. I always try and go over that. Like, I mentioned to you earlier on. It is a mad curse. It's a big burden to be so productive, proactive, and ambitious, because I know full well that we're just scratching the surface. I'm definitely nowhere near where I want the company to be, and we will keep going and just as kind of like an experiment as to see how far we can take it.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. It's obviously I don't take on half the work Alan does, but he obviously pushes the products like I don't really get to use my Instagram for things like that anymore. I think I've exhausted that, but I mean, I'm a little bit I don't really like using. You never see my face on my Instagram. Like, you might see me training with my top.
All you got to do is look at it now, and I can go, yeah, I understand why, mate. Reece has got a face for radio. In fact, I'll tell you what, mate.
It's the first podcast. I'm not filming.
Just do podcasts, mate. You'll be right with that.
But, it's not really by you know what? Do you know what? Like, you have to get yourself out there, and obviously we've realised, like, doing podcasts and things like that. Obviously, that helps get your name out.
Yeah.
A lot more people listen now. That people want to know where you came from. People message. I got a message the other day. I won't name names, but how did you get to where you are, and what advice can you give me? And I said, I'm definitely not the person to ask. Like, I'm not. Like, I use my talent to get where I am. I'm not no good for podcasts. I'm no good for videos. Like, you'll never see me on things like that. Well, obviously you will, but not often. It's not my thing.
You do always enjoy it once you've done it.
Oh, 1,000,000%. But it's God, I couldn't listen to this back now. No way. I would never listen to it. I'll just ask you how it was.
Nice one.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't. I tell everybody to listen to it back. I can't stand my own voice or anything.
Yeah, it's fucking rank. No, it's like I do enjoy it because it's obviously something different. It's away from the norm of just cutting hair and, you know, great content, and people do want to know your story. And I think
that's cool.
the reason why we people resonate with us so much is because we are just two midgets from Manchester who work endlessly, work very tirelessly hard. That is it. That's the be all and end all. When someone says, how do you get where you are today, without sounding arrogant or a prick, basically go away and work hard. Work harder than anyone else in the room.
We put the hours in. We definitely put the hours in. We do, it's probably 10 hours in the shop, and then obviously everything else. Yeah, I wish.
I've even said to people, like, I said, like, what's your working day like? And they're like, oh, well, I work like 8 hours in the shop. I'm like, right, so you work 8 hours in the shop, and then you sleep for 8 hours. And then guess what? You've got another 8 hours there. What are you going to do with it? Well, that's my time. Well, you're never going to fucking grow on just your time. Stop being selfish. Like, you've got one part of you that's telling you to grow, another part are telling you to go to work, and another part telling you to sleep. You need to create an unbalance with that. Your time to rest should also be sitting down and trying to work on something like residual income or something else of how to grow. Your working hours are your working hours, but then it can always seep into everything else. You do have to sacrifice a massive, monumental amount to actually get anywhere in the world. You have to sacrifice some time going out with friends. You have to sacrifice time sitting, scrolling on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Grindr and everything else that you want to scroll through. Yeah. Like, get rid of that. It's just pointless time. Like,
people do ask all the time, like, how do you get more followers, don't they? And
well, you don't fucking need more followers.
No, that's not, obviously that doesn't work for us anymore. That's not how we've gotten busy. I mean, obviously it helped. That's why we've travelled. That's why we normally meet you in another country and not Liverpool. But
it's the first time I've seen you here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we've ever been over this.
But it is funny because people ask the question. They ask me. I'm sure they ask every other successful looking barber on Instagram, and they're like, how do you do what you do, or how do I get to where you are? And it's like, well, there's not a blueprint for it, and most people aren't built for it. If you go and say, imagine I writ down everything I've done to get where I am now. People don't want to do that.
No, do they?
No,
heck?
No.
If you was to write down a list of everything that you've done from the moment your career started to where you're at now, they would look at that list and go, fuck that. It's like, I go to bed at night and, like, yeah, I might read something that interests me. I've just read Usain Bolt's autobiography, which was ace, but I'm not looking at, you know, where he lived and how old he is and how fast he can run. I'm looking at the actual story to inspire me to do more with my life and look at how driven and ambitious he was. When we went to New York, I cut your hair in your room and you was reading 4 Hour Week. I went home and thought, that's a book that I've not read, and read it because I knew full well it was going to help me grow. And that is it. You've got to take up that resting time with anything that's going to help you grow. Reading a book is like selfless. It's a alone time. You're doing something that's using up your time, but it's also helping you grow and be a better person by learning more, and you're educating yourself. That was 4 years ago. And you're going home and reading something that's going to give you that progression. So how have you got to where you are today? Right, well, I'll tell you what. First of all, I'll start with the books. Then I'll go to the TV programs. If you can't read, watch these TV programs. And then if you can't do that, these are the Instagrams to follow. These are the YouTube videos to watch. All this is just literally cramming information into your brain. Then go back to work and see how fast you progress then.
Just like that. He tells me that all the time. I go to sleep fucking anxious, me. So he's like, try reading this book. Try putting your phone down. I think I'd just rather sit there and battle myself. But
it does help though. Like I've said this to Reece loads. Even just like what we are like as brothers. This is one thing that we are totally alike with. Inside our brains, we know full well that there's so much noise. He's got a noisy head. I've got a noisy head. I can close my eyes and I can feel overwhelmed, like physically and emotionally overwhelmed by what's going on.
My head on the pillow and my fucking my anxiety gets that bad. I get adrenaline. I'm like, I'm buzzing. I just want to get up and go to work or train.
So to turn that noise down, what you've got to do is completely distract yourself either with meditation obviously that's going to be, I mean, like I will meditate for anything between 90 seconds and 6 minutes just before I read, because I know full well it puts me into that mental state where I know I'm going to read. If I don't do, I can be reading like letters and words across a page and my eyes are vibrating, moving backwards and forwards. So to get me into that state where I can read, I will do, like, even if it's just a 2-minute meditation on the Calm app, I'll do that, start reading, and it turns the noise down. That volume goes down. But then as soon as I wake up, if I wake up in the night, I've got to do that process again. I've got to do the meditate. I've got to then get a book up, read a little bit, and then I've got to put white noise on, and that's what gets me to sleep. The same process every night. Meditate, read, white noise. My white noise at the moment is one film, and I put it on. I must have watched it 1,000 times. Or not watched it, but listened to it. Put my headphones in, turn the phone upside down.
Moana.
No, it's Rise of the Guardians. It's a kid's film.
Sick.
How often do you read, like how long do you read before bed? And what time do you go to bed?
I'm in bed, without doubt, every single night, 9:30. That is I am like habitual, ritual and routine driven completely. And 9:30 every single night I am in bed.
To read.
So like
I'm still at the gym
then. My cut-off point, like both the kids have got to be in bed and asleep by 8. Sometimes it might go to 8:15. And it's a 1 hour. I get a 1 hour window where me and Lindsay will sit down, do whatever we need to do. Usually watch a series. Watching a series, watching Prodigal Son at the moment. It's funny, it's predictable, it's shit, but it's numbing. It just relaxes me, unwinds me for the day.
It takes your eyes off the prize a little bit, just to
no phones. My
out.
phone goes on charge, and that's it. And then once that's done, pick up my phone again, do whatever I need to do, and because it is quite obsessive. And I obviously said before, when you have a business that's succeeding, you are trapped. It's a proper burden and it's a curse, because you've then got to go on your phone, and that space between 9 to 9:30, I can spend that full 30 minutes sat down on the toilet having a wee for 30 minutes, answering every single message and
red knees where your elbows
inquiry.
are.
Yeah, like my knees are just bright red. Can't stand up because I've sat down to have a wee, standard. And I'll do every single one of the messages. It takes me 30 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. And then I'll go straight upstairs and I'll read anything between half an hour and an hour and 30, sometimes 2 hours.
It's good.
Like I did Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights in 3 days because I couldn't sleep.
Is that good?
Very good.
Yeah, I love him.
Very good.
I bought it and I read about 3 pages, and I was telling Alan that, it's really good. And he read it, and I'm on like the 4th page.
Reece got it. Told me it was really good. I think he'd read the introduction.
I literally just
3 days later, I finished it. It's really, really good. It's just a fun book, and you learn obviously about it.
Might have been just all right.
No, it tells you the story.
All right.
It tells you the story about all right. So the first film that he ever did, the first filming, those were the first 3 things he said. Yeah, I won't go into detail, but it was the first
His
thing.
story's incredible.
His story's insane.
And he's an insane actor. Isn't he?
He's a very impromptu, improvisational kind of actor. And he pulled up in a car, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, all right. And it's
when he's got long hair, isn't it?
Yeah, I read that, and then all night I'm just lying in bed, just going, all right.
I would love to listen to the audiobook of him reading that, though.
Does he do it?
I don't know, but I'd fall asleep to that. His accent.
Stories on Calm, doesn't
it's so good. Harry Styles does as well.
Yeah.
It's good.
Hello, my name's Harry Styles.
He goes, hello, is it me you're looking for?
So anyway, I know you have to go soon.
Yes.
But I can foresee this being more than one episode of the 2 years.
Yeah,
which is good.
This
I
is
think
just
we only
warmed
scratched
me
the
up.
surface,
Yeah, this is especially with me. I'll warm up next time.
It's one of those, like we love to talk, and obviously we love to share our story and kind of like give our opinions on other things. So if anyone is listening and they want like a subject for us to if they want a subject for us to talk about, then we'd be more than happy to bring that subject up.
Maybe we should do that put it out on the social media. And
Put that on social
that'd be a
media
good shout.
channels. Yeah, if there's any subjects or any questions that people want answering, let's do it.
We'll come up once a week.
Any
Once a
discussions?
month?
Yeah.
We'll do it once a month.
Considering we've only done it this is the first time you've come to Liverpool in 7 years of knowing you.
Exactly.
Let's aim for.
Yeah, let's do once a month.
Yeah, we could
like
we could
that.
definitely do once a month. To be fair, it's an hour away, and even if we came up after work one evening, straight from work, set up in your little sexual boudoir.
We can film it. We can do a live as well.
Yeah,
A bit of a chat
definitely.
show.
That'd be good.
Okay, so you've already give your Instagram, but it's just Alan Beak. There's no underscore.
Yeah, so
there is an underscore.
It's Alan ALAN_Beak BEAK.
And you
Mine's Reece Beak.
REECE.
CE. Yeah, it used to be Mozambique. But yeah. You can search both, you'll find it.
Mozambique.
Just be careful when you go on my stories. Might be something on there that you don't like.
Explicit content.
Yeah, so if you want some activist posts about masks, anti-masks,
Anti-COVID.
anti-COVID, or anything to do with animals,
Or just
or
the government.
CrossFit, or just
Everything
anyone.
other than hair. No, I'm just kidding. I always say that. I'm going to get back into it. But I use my Instagram for me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my dogs, though. Follow me for my dogs.
Yeah, the dogs.
All the dogs.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you, boys.
Oh, you're
Thanks,
welcome, mate.
son.
Thank you
mate.
for having
Cheers.
us.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Fucking hell.